Hello and welcome to the short Vort on Devarim, the 3 weeks, the 9 days in Eicha. They're all connected. One of the things that happens when we take the time and try to understand our tefillos is we come up with questions and hopefully answers to these questions. And one of the topics that I had a question on that I finally noticed was that at the end of Shmonei Esrei, we say Yehi Ratzon about building the Bais Hamikdash. In the middle of that, we insert V'seincha kein b'sorosecha. We discuss having our portion in the Torah, and then we continue V'sham na'avadcha, that we should continue to serve in the Bais Hamikdash. And I wondered, what was the connection between the Torah and the Bais Hamikdash? Why was it inserted in between two topics regarding the Bais Hamikdash? In this tefillah, these words are found also. They're based on the Pirkei Avos, Perek Hey, and depending on the count, it's either 21 or 23, the Mishnah 21 or 23, Chaf Aleph, Chaf Gimel, and it's also at the end of Rabbi Yishmael, we say this Yehi Ratzon in a shorter format. I was happy that this summer in Eretz Yisrael, Rabbi Berel Wein at Beit Knesset HaNasi, he discussed this topic and he came up with the same thought that I had, that there is something about having the Bais Hamikdash that elevated the Torah, that brought us the Torah, that we couldn't reach that heights without the Torah. And without it, the Torah is more limited. And Rabbi Daniel Glatstein, in his sefer about the 3 weeks, Darkness and the Dawn, he actually brought up a little bit more detail, a little bit more color for the answer that I liked. And what he brought down was in Chagiga, Daf Yudalid, Rav Papa and the Rabbanan have an argument about how many Sidrei Mishnah there were. And the difference was either 600 or 700 Sidrei Mishnah. Not individual Mishnayos, but Sidrei Mishnah. Today we only have 6. And when did we lose these 594 or 694 Sidros? So there's an argument about that also. One of the Balei Tosfos in Sefer Krisas, Rabbi Shimon Mekinon, as well as the Yalkut Ruvaini, said that the reduction happened during the time of the second Bais Hamikdash, during the time of Hillel and Shabai, when Hillel dies around 32 before the Common Era. So that gives you some, that's before the end of the Bais Sheni, and that Hillel reduced the amount of Siddharim in the Mishnah down to what we have by 6. And the different opinion is with the Chida and the Beis Yosef and the Shlah Kodesh says that this reduction or this loss happened about 300 years later when Rabbi Yehuda Nasi redacted the Mishnah. So what he did is, we don't have all the exact text and the details that we had originally, but he condensed it. We didn't lose the actual concepts, but they weren't as easily accessible for us. And in fact, that when someone came up with a chiddush, often Rabbi Glatstein will say they're explaining something that was known beforehand and now bringing it out. But because of the need to condense, because of the challenges of the times, we had to have a smaller set, less detailed Siddurim of the Mishnah. However, there's a third opinion, says Rabbi Glatstein, and that's from the Vilna Gaon. The Vilna Gaon said actually this reduction happened at the time of the first Bais Hamikdash, before the Churban, with the Gullus there, things were lost and it became more challenging. And therefore Rabbi Glatstein suggests that when it's so, in Eicha, it says, Malka v'sareha b'goyim, that the kings and the officers were amongst the goyim, were amongst the heathens, in Torah. We didn't have Torah. We significantly lost the Torah. Rabbi Glatstein believes that the Vilna Gaon was saying that, or specifically, he was referring to the lost Siddurim and Mishnayos that went from 600 to down 99% to just 6 Siddurim. So with that, we have a more clear answer, a connection. But just for simplicity, I'm going to read from Rabbi Glatstein's last paragraph on this topic. He says, in order to truly know and understand Torah, we need a Bais Hamikdash. Without it, it is as if the Torah does not even exist. Therefore, we are mispalel. Yehi Ratzon lefanecha Hashem Elokeinu v'Elokei Voseinu sheibana Bais Hamikdash b'meher b'yameinu v'sein chalkeinu b'sorosecha v'sham na'avadcha b'yira k'me'elam shanim kadmonios. May it be your will, Almighty God, that we rebuild the Bais Hamikdash for us. And then he interprets that only that will restore the Torah to its full grandeur and glory. And only then will we be able to bask in the fullness of wisdom and regain our intellectual majesty to plumb the depths of its treasure. Hence, the prayer to merit one's share in learning Torah v'sein chalkein b'soresecha is positioned in the perfect location in the context of the request of the binyan Bais Hamikdash. Sheyibana Bais Hamikdash b'mehera b'yameinu. May we soon have this Bais Hamikdash when we not have to fast this Sunday. Thank you for listening.